welcome back to my channel. It's Courtney, and as you can see, I have a special guest with me again. It's Annisa.
Hey,
and today we're coming to you guys to talk about another period video. This video is sponsored by THINX, and if you aren't familiar with THINX, basically THINX is an alternative to the traditional feminine hygiene products. THINX has a bunch of different styles depending on your fit preference and on your flow. I initially purchased the hip huggers, which also happens to be a customer favorite for heavy days. The more you purchase, the more you save. So you can purchase a set of 3, a set of 5, or a set of 7, and that'll get you through your whole cycle. They're 95% cotton, so I just wash them on delicate, cold, and they're ready to go. The top layer of the panty fights the bacteria and absorbs any liquid, while the layer underneath helps wick all that moisture away so you stay super dry. I added the Cheeky and the Sport to my collection, so I'm pretty set for my cycle. My favorite thing about THINX is that they look like regular panties. They're super cute, they don't look or feel bulky, and they're crazy comfortable. And they look great under anything. They're a major step up from granny panties. We're gonna be talking about the 5 things that your period is telling you about your body. All right, you ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, so do you want the good, the bad, or the ugly first?
Give me the bad first.
The bad, okay. So, it's not really bad, it's kind of just like gross. So, we all know that our period, the color of our blood, you know, looks different when throughout the course of our period. So, when you have that dark color, like really dark burgundy brownish color blood,
yeah,
that's actually old blood. So it's basically old uterine lining that didn't shed from your last cycle that's now shedding this cycle.
So it's still just been sitting in there chilling? Is that healthy?
I guess so. It's like, you know, it's part of your body just didn't come out at that time.
Does it normally come out in clots? Is that what the dark clots are?
It can. So when your blood has been sitting, so if you ever notice, like if you're sitting down for a really long time and then you stand up and go to the bathroom, you might have a clot. And that's fine. So that's actually part of my second point. If you have clots, it's totally normal. It just means that the blood's been sitting there for a while, or that your body hasn't had the opportunity for the blood thinning agents to kind of get to that blood. Maybe your flow is really quickly and it just didn't have the opportunity to like thin it out. But if you have clots that are bigger than a quarter, then that's an indication that something might be wrong. So it could be fibroids, it could be polycystic ovary syndrome. It could be a number of things. It could be a hormone imbalance. So clots are totally normal. You know, don't be afraid. Even, you know, like especially if you have a desk job and like I said, you're sitting for a long time and then you go to the bathroom, that's totally normal. But when you start getting clots that are really big, that's not good.
Oh, okay.
You want to do the good?
Yes.
Or the normal? Okay, so the normal or the good is if you have kind of like a bright red color, cranberry color, Kool-Aid color, that's normal. So that's a healthy period. It just means that you usually probably see that around like your 2nd or 3rd day. It just means that your flow is flowing good. You've gotten all the old cycle out and now you're essentially in the new cycle and your uterine lining is now shedding all of the current
I have a question. So maybe you're gonna answer this, but why is it brown when you're first starting your period? Brownish.
So that's the old uterine lining. It's just oxidized.
Oh.
So think about like when you have a cut and like your, you know, the blood from your cut flows and it's kind of like a bright red, but as it gets oxidized and it starts to become a scab and it gets darker, that's what's happening. So the blood is just, it's just been sitting there for a long amount of time.
So when you first start your period, that's old blood?
Yeah, it's like old blood mixed with new blood.
Oh.
So it's mostly old blood.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So fact number 4 is if you have a really, really light color, like a light pink or even a watery texture, it means that you have low estrogen levels, and that can be attributed to people who are athletes. So if you're training for a marathon or let's say you're working on a regular basis and you notice that you had a red or a dark color period normally, and now it's a little bit lighter, it just means that your estrogen levels are lower. That's not always a bad thing, but if it starts to get to that really, 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 really light pink and it starts to become watery, almost really diluted, then that's an issue that there's probably a really bad hormone imbalance. So you should probably go see a doctor and see what's going on, because as females, we don't want our estrogen levels to be too low. Even if you are training for a fitness competition or a marathon, you might notice that your period might stop. And it's not, again, that's not always a bad thing. It's not biologically necessary for us to have our periods. However, you want to always make sure that it is attributed to something like fitness and not something like a hormone imbalance, or again, polycystic syndrome, fibroids, or something like that.
So if your estrogen levels are low, does that mean that you have more testosterone?
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily mean that your testosterone levels have gone up. It could just mean that the ratio of your estrogen to testosterone is a little bit higher because your estrogen levels have dropped.
Gotcha.
So the next one is just a little bit gross.
Yeah.
But really important. So we all know that, again, the color of our blood from our menstrual cycles can obviously change depending on the hormones, depending on where you are in your cycle. However, if you're getting something like an orange color or a light color mixed with a gray color, it could be an indication that something is really wrong, such as an infection. So that's an indication to definitely go to the doctor and make sure you check that out. Orange and gray discharge should definitely not be mixed into your menstrual cycle, because something's not right.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before.
Me either.
I didn't know it was orange. And make it orange blood.
Me either. I knew.
Are there certain STIs that are associated with that type of a color, do you know?
I don't know, in my research I didn't find it. It didn't specifically say like certain STIs or STDs, but it definitely did say that something, you most likely have an infection. So that gray, it says like if it's slippery and it's dischargy kind of like texture, then you definitely want to check that out. So not like a clot, because a clot is going to be darker and it's going to have kind of like a jelly kind of texture, like substance. But when it's orange and it's slippery and it's kind of gray or like white mixed into it, then that's not good.
Oh God. I know, why can you mix it up?
Also, with the orange and color, if it has a foul smell. So
yeah.
That's a good indication.
What about the smell of your periods? Like, I feel like it has a smell.
It definitely has a smell.
But it shouldn't smell like something's dying in there.
Yeah. So the way that your GYN kind of like can tell if something's wrong is if there is an odor. So usually a fishy odor indicates that something's not right. Or if it's really, really strong, something's not right. So you're always gonna have an odor. I mean, there's moisture down there, it's not a lot of ventilation, so there's gonna be some kind of, so those are 5 facts. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm telling you, you really seriously want to try these out if you haven't already. And if you have them,
amazing.
Yeah. If you have them, you already know you're amazing. So thank you guys so much for watching.
Bye guys.
Say bye, Bella.
Okay, never mind.